361 Corpus Christi, Texas here. So a subscriber hit me up and wanted me to build him a loaded coil setup for his 102-inch whip for 27.400 megahertz. So this is the coil. So the coil here, this red one is actually a ground lug, and this is the one you actually attach to your actual antenna mount for the ground to your coax. This mount here, for people watching this video, is not the mount that's going to be used for the antenna itself. The antenna itself is going to have a mirror mount that is going to have a ground rod hammered into the ground. So it'll have a ground stake for a mount, and it will have the mirror mount there for the ground. And then this is the jumper wire for the ground right here. So we're going to do that in a minute. You put the wire here, you put one here on the mount, and that supplies your ground radials. The ground, you have one ground radial here, here, there, and there. So there's 4 ground radial posts, and this post here, you can just supply ground to it anywhere you want pretty much. It doesn't have to be the coax, but this is the ground right here for all the other posts. Or you can use these posts, whichever post you want. All these posts are connected together. And then the main coil system is on the inside of the PVC pipe. And then there is a 3/8 by 24 stud on top. That way he can put a coupler on top and he can put his 122-inch whip. The reason I have this other nut here is because since I don't have a 102-inch whip, I'm going to attempt to use a 102-inch cut wire and strap it to a tree branch, and then use one 13-foot ground radial wire. I know people are probably going to get a little upset that I'm using only one wire, because people say, you know, you have to have at least 3 or it won't work. But I've gotten great results with just one ground radial. But I'm going to get my hands on some more wires, because I will send this coil out to the customer with 4 ground radials. But I'm going to try to get it down with just this one ground radial that's cut at 13 feet. So hopefully we can get it tuned with that. And hopefully we can get it down, and target is 1.5. So now we got the meters set for continuity, which on some multimeters is the one with the ohms and the diode symbol. Then you hit the mode button here to get over to the one that actually gives you the sound, which looks like a Wi-Fi symbol right there. So right now, because it's easy to balance, or a lot harder to balance the negative side of it, so we're going to test the negative side of this system right now. So we're going to touch this pin right here, and we got negative to there. Let's make sure there's no negative going over to positive. That's good. Make sure there's no negative going to the positive through the entire coil. And that's good. And now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the ground jumper, where you can attach your ground from your coax, which is hooked up to your antenna mount, and then you can grab the ground from the mount and you can attach it to your coil, which will give you ground to your radials. And with this setup, like I said in the beginning of this video, I did 4 posts for ground radials. You got 2 there, and you got 2 there. Technically, if you really wanted to, you could do 5, and you could add another one right here, and you can branch that one off. And if you don't use a choke on the bottom, you can actually use the coax cable as a radial wire as well. So now let's test the positive side of it, because the negative passes continuity test. And with all antennas, you got to do positive and negative tests. Come on. Come on. All right. Now we got that in there. Let's see if there's any positive leaking through. Same thing, touch all the negative sides. Make sure there's no positive going over to the negative. I know I just did it. Make sure there's no positive going over. So we got positive up to the top of the coil, which is good. No positives leaking over to the negative, which is good. Now let's see. That's good. So we got positive all the way through the coil, which means the coil will radiate with a antenna on top of it. So new coil for 27.400 megahertz for 102 inch whip passes the continuity test. Next test is going to be on the air.